criminals, the ethical standards of there are questionable about those in public life. They believe they can get away. The clever can get away. The real money is made by tweaking government policies. That's where the real big money is made. As Mr. A. Raja showed, in the, how to make money and how to become a millionaire by A. Raja is a book that he must write one day. My book is called 2014, The Election That Changed India. Raja's book should be 2011, How I Became a Millionaire. It was very simple. I mean, the intelligence of A. Raja is remarkable. And it was a collusive corruption. Because all the corporates involved in that fell in line, including some of the best corporates in this country, whose otherwise reputation is, relatively above board. Which again brings me to the point, whose ethical standards are we now going to talk about? Are we going to ask for a higher bar from our public representatives as even we lower the bar all the time in our private lives? Are we simply going to say that because our systems are non-transparent, are opaque systems, therefore what can we do? Paisa dena padta hai. If we don't give a bribe to the policeman when I break a traffic light, I will get into trouble. Therefore, yaar, 50 rupees de do, 100 rupees de do, 500 rupees. Now, of course, it's gone up to $1,000. You see, like everything, corruption also has its inflationary pressures. 10 years ago in Mumbai, probably when you broke a light, you could give 50 rupees to that cop and get away. Now he will demand a minimum of $1,000. And we do it because we believe that's the safest way out. Because we think once we've done that, chalo, let's get on with our existence. So we are in a sense part of this collusive system of ours. So therefore, before we blame the politician, before we blame our elected representative, we've got to ask ourselves, is there zero tolerance for corruption in this country? Are we really keen on having a system which is purely based, where you don't have to bend the rules to get ahead? You've got to ask that in the financial sector. I've got to ask that in journalism. In this entire thing, this person did not name a single editor. But we should have named some editors also. There are editors today who have large farmhouses. There are editors whose basic function is to be a fixer. You use your contacts, you use your connections, you organize something for someone. And they get away. And they've got away for years. So these are questions that we have to ask ourselves. If the moral standards of society are falling, if there is a general decline in the moral climate of society, then are we expecting our leaders to be any different? Or is it that once the leaders set an example, then the rest of the society will follow? I mean, this is the real challenge of our times. Who's going to set the example? Let's assume that you have a prime minister who says, I will not take a bribe. Will that put sufficient pressure on the system to ensure that everyone else will not? In this vast country, I mean, one of the best things that is now happening in the government is at least the fact of this notarization. This entire thing that every document will have to be notarized, the government has decided to do away with. Because let's be honest, the worst form of corruption in a country like India is petty corruption. Whether Raja makes money, whether someone, Rani makes money, who cares? You and I are not going to get beyond the point affected by it. What we do get affected in this country, even today most by, is petty corruption. The income tax department. The income tax department, relatively, some say today is less corrupt. You will have a better answer than it was 20 years ago. Is it? You can answer that. Is it? No way. Okay. But they claim that as a result of bringing in computers and technology, they have been able to ensure that the system is more transparent than it was 10 or 20 years ago. But you see, you're right. The fact is that there were some reports last time that in the last 12 months of the UPA government, a lot of top middle level SMEs, a lot of top SMEs in particular, small and middle level enterprises, suddenly got income tax notices. And the way to resolve those notices was, within a week it was a very well practiced system. Someone would ring you up from the income tax department a week after you had got the notice and said, sir, aapko notice mil gayi? You would say yes. And it said, don't worry, we can resolve it for you. And the matter would get resolved. provided a certain amount was paid to a certain individual. So I asked a former Chief Commissioner of Income Tax, saying that your department is going around the country saying that with greater use of technology, with greater use of computers, you've actually been able to reduce the level of corruption. He said, "Dekho, technology cannot destroy what is inside a man. What is, technology can perhaps ensure that systems are made faster, systems are made more transparent, but can technology change morality? That income, why is it that even today some of our toppers in the UPSC exam want to go into the Indian Revenue Service? There must be a reason why the Indian Revenue Service today is so attractive. The Indian Revenue Service is attractive primarily because it is a source of corruption. What is the other big source of, we keep saying in this country, when we discuss these debates on corruption in public life, कि वो Swiss bank से काला पैसा आना चाहिए. Bring back the black money from Swiss banks. Let's be honest, you know and I know most of the black money in this country is in this country. And the real solution to bringing back black money lies in India, not in Switzerland. It lies in land. Let's be honest, what is the biggest source of black money and parallel economy in this country? It's land. In 90% of the cases today, whichever land transactions you do, there is an element of black money. What has the government of India over these years? They know the problem, they identify the problem, and yet they don't do anything about it. The present Maharashtra Chief Minister told me that he wanted to do something about it. He said, I called a cabinet meeting because I believe that the real legislation in this city of Mumbai that we need is in land. He said, we tried to bring in more transparent systems. He said, you should have seen the faces of my cabinet ministers at that meeting when I raised this proposal. He said, looking at their faces, I knew that each of them was involved in land scams. Because each of them has interest. There is no city like this. You will have elections here in Maharashtra. There are 36 seats in Mumbai, a few more in Thane. 75% of the candidates who will be there across parties will be individuals who have links to land. Either they are builders themselves or they are in some way linked to contractors. In fact, there also there has been a gradation that has taken place. 20 years ago, if you met a minister, he would put you in touch with a third party and that third party would be involved in building. And you would have to pay your cut. Now the politicians like our friend Mr. Chhagan Bhujbal have become more intelligent. They are actually builders themselves. See, they realize why become the middlemen? Let's take it over ourselves. So today if you go to a city like Nashik, for example, Nashik should be renamed Bhujbal city. Wherever you look, there is Chhagan Bhujbal around, in some form or the other. Because when I went there recently, I was told, ye hotel unka hai, ye hospital unka hai, ye school unka hai, this private college is theirs. It almost seemed Maharashtra politicians have mastered land first. I mean, the one thing that Maharashtra was ahead of every other state was land. Now other states are following up. We saw that in the case of Karnataka and mining, where Karnataka showed the way of how once you were in government, you could use your power to control the flow of mining and make windfall profits. And the fact is that we in the media are also constrained. Today if I do and I go on television and say what I said about Bhujbal on my Marathi channel which we used to have, my channel will be switched off in Nashik. Because guess what? Mr. Bhujbal doesn't just control hospitals and land there and other areas. He also controls cable. So for one year, when we did a story on, 1 year ago when we did or 2 years ago when we did a story on Chhagan Bhujbal and his alleged involvement in land mafia, our channel was switched off in Nashik city. The same thing happened with the Reddy brothers in Karnataka. The moment we did a story on their mining activities in Karnataka when they were in power, channel switched off. Later on I found out the reason for it, they control cable. Today you cannot do a story in my profession on the Akalis in Punjab. Why? Because the Akalis are very clever, they control cable. The moment there is a story, your channel is switched off. So you see the nature of the structure within which this collusive, I call it collusive corruption more than anything else. So it's a collusive decline in ethical standards. Many of us want to be honest in our lives. I'm sure most of us, I still believe most Indians are remarkably honest people. As a people, we are remarkably honest. I have seen rickshaw walas who, if your wallet is left behind, will come and say, "Saab, aapka paisa." I saw it the other day. My laptop, my iPad was left at the parking lot of the airport. Some CISF officer was holding it at midnight for me. So Indians left to themselves can be remarkably honest. But when you create a system of collusive corruption, where it becomes almost impossible to get work done efficiently, without in some way having to deal with either giving a bribe or subverting a rule or subverting a law, that's when corruption becomes this cancer. And let's be honest, it is a cancer. And the chemotherapy, frankly, is not just what Narendra Modi says. You can't just say, na khaunga, na khane dunga. I've asked my friends in Gujarat, is corruption less in Gujarat? They say red tapeism is less. Corruption, sir, hai. Paisa to lega koi. And you know, I mean, you will know better. You go to Rajkot today, you go to the people take money. It's not as if it's not enough, therefore, for the leader himself to be honest. What is needed is the leader needs to bring in strong reform. You need reform, structural reform, which reduces the capacity of any institution to actually be able to remain corrupt as it is. I believe the CBI director should be sacked. He should have been sacked the moment that register came out in public. That would at least send some kind of a message. Why should I wait for the Supreme Court to decide whether the CBI officer should be sacked or not? See, unless you are going to, if a Supreme Court judge, the example that I gave, a former Supreme Court judge, and this has now become a routine practice, you will see several judges, just the 1 week before they retire, give major judgments in financial cases. And if you speak to senior Supreme Court lawyers, they know exactly which judge is going to give what kind of a judgment. Now, if they know about it, should they not report this to the authorities? And should the authorities not make an effort to see so that we can make examples of it? Because my final point is eventually we will need to have one jail for high-profile VIPs caught in corruption. And that should include judges, that should include CBI directors, that should include members of parliament, that should include editors also. We should all be kept in that VIP jail and with tough, stringent law, not the rules that we have today, where the case drags on for 10 years. So an A. Raja can get away by being on bail. I feel sorry for him at one level, because he has to A, remain in jail for 13 months without the case being heard. Then he gets bail, then he contests an election. So if he had won that election, he would have come back. So the thing is, you need swift punishment, you need surety of punishment, and you need to make examples of people. Because I believe that only when you will have 10 or 15 top people who will spend 20 years in jail in this country, top CEOs, corporates also must find their way into jail. Top corporates must find their way into jail. Top politicians must find their way into jail. CBI officers should find their way into jail. And if we can't find enough space, we have to create a jail for that. But unless you do that, that is the kind of thing, I think you need shock treatment. You don't need chemotherapy now. You need shock treatment in this country. And when you have shock treatment in this country, that's when I believe ethical standards on their own. Because as I said, the average Indian wants to be honest. The system at the moment is such that collusive corruption doesn't allow him to be honest. Thank you very much. Yes, sir. You have a mic? You have a mic, sir?
Hello?
Yes.
Same time media, why not raise the people who are honest? They project the honest people in the media so that people can get...
No, I think that's a very good idea. I think we need to show more cases of people who do positive things. As I said, a rickshaw driver who finds a purse of 5,000 rupees and returns it. He should be given a reward.
There are a lot of bureaucrats who are very honest.
There are a lot of bureaucrats.
Mr. Khemka
Absolutely.
is very honest man. He got transferred after every 2 months or 3 months. So
You
why
see, I
not
think, you know,
highlight
that is-
those kind of person in the media?
No, I agree with you that I think we need to make more examples and more role models.